Welcome back to the Little Things podcast, where we take a step back from everything and look at all the wonderful and amazing things this life has to offer. Hello, I'm your host, Alexis Scott, and welcome to today's episode. Hello, I'm glad that you are back and we are having this lovely conversation today, and I hope your life is just going well and good. I hope everything that you're wanting to happen and do is just being able to get done, so I hope that is how you are starting your week or your day while listening to this and just having a good time. So I hope that life has been treating you super well. And with that, we're kind of talking along those lines of how we are going to progress in our, having a good life, having a productive time, and accomplishing what we want by how we are not going to be burnt out this semester or this year. So this episode is talking all about how we are actually going to stay motivated and avoid burnout, which is the demon itself. And we are going to avoid that and be productive and motivated through all your life, either if you're in high school, college, postgrad, whichever. That's what we're talking about today, how we are going to avoid burnout. And so I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation with you and talk about how we're going to do it, because as someone who's experienced burnout quite a bit, it's good to kind of know how not to experience burnout. So that's what we're talking about, but just some highs and lows. The week's been really good. Everything's been going well. And let me know how your week and time has been going. With that, let me know at thelittlethings.podcast on Instagram. And with that, I hope you're having a great day, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this. And let's get right on into talking about avoiding burnout. So the first thing we're talking about is why we get motivational slumps. Why do we have such highs and lows with motivation when we can't even ourselves understand why? I read this article by the Harvard Business Review, and this is kind of what sparked this episode, is what is the psychology behind burnout. And so one of the things is that our brains are naturally designed to avoid sustaining effort. So when we think that we are going to hit a peak and we're like, okay, we're going to do this task or have this motivation for a long period of time, our brains do not fully understand that it is a constant thing we need to keep doing. So we almost have to play a trick with our brain, because our brain is tricking us, because our consistency through life is not determined by what our brain thinks. It's kind of what we do, because we think, okay, we're at one peak, this is where we reach, and then we're done. We're not going to sustain that momentum. We think we hit the hard part and we're just going to keep going with our lives and not continue hitting those hard parts. But instead, what we have to do is that we need to understand that our brains aren't naturally wired to be constant and sustainable with our efforts. So we have to play games with our brain to keep doing that. And with this, our willpower isn't constant. It's not just a linear line. It's ups and downs, peaks and hills. It's always moving. And that one day you could wake up and be so motivated to hit all your goals, hit all your tasks, do everything that you want to do, but then the next day you could feel like not getting out of bed and just staying there for the entirety of the day. So this willpower and this drive isn't constant. It's not going to keep going. That's why you feel guilty when you don't feel motivated. It's so, I know I do it. You feel motivated, you're constant, you're going to keep doing things, and then you feel gross and icky and guilty when you didn't feel motivated that day and didn't accomplish anything. It's one of those weird things that our brain likes to do when we think, okay, our heart is telling us to go one way and be consistent with it, but our brain is telling us, oh, well, I did it one day, so the task is complete and over. So it's more of a strategy of how you stay motivated throughout the semester. For example, say you studied for 2 months straight, and it's about midterm way. You took your midterm, you feel good about it, you studied consistently every single day, and you did well on your midterm. But then, second half of the semester towards final season, you kind of lack off. You're like, okay, I got a good grade on this midterm. I don't really need to do much well on it. And you lose that momentum. So it's almost like a skill you have to practice at. You can't just think it's going to be there. You have to practice at it. You have to have that momentum and work towards it every single day. Okay, I'm going to have this constant go, motivation, drive every single day. You have to work for it. You have to have a strategy for it. So the reason we slump is because that's just what we do. That's how our brains are wired. So to avoid that, especially if you're college and you just got out of midterms, to avoid that, you have to have a strategy plan. You have to understand, okay, this is where I set my goal. How am I going to get there and do small micro steps every day? Like microdosing your steps, which is really helpful, and just constantly working towards that. So maybe study for 15 minutes a day. Work on your project 15 minutes a day. Work out 15 minutes a day. Small tasks that can slowly add up, because it'll like add up to your habits, and it kind of circles back to habit tracking. So if you add little things up, it'll do it. Because if you do everything in one day, you're going to burn yourself out. So you have to go slow with it and give yourself time to recharge, or like going to bed early or whichever, like taking the time to build up that momentum, but not give it all at one moment. Constant thing of deadlines every week, deadlines every day, things you always have to do. This motivation, this drive to not be burnt out is fully in the thing of not putting it all at one moment. How are we going, so now we kind of understand like how our brain works, and that our brain naturally wants us to fail with the motivation and the drive, how are we going to take the steps to achieve this not being burnt out and to keep being motivated? Because there are times, weeks at a time, where I will sit at my desk and think, okay, I want to do this. This is going to accomplish, this essay is going to get done, this video is going to get posted, all of these things. And I don't do it because I quote it on my motivation, when deep down it's really just my lack of consistency and effort and drive that I put into it, and showing up for myself on those goals that I put. So how are we going to do this? So the first thing is start small towards the goals. In the article in the Harvard Business Review from the Fishbeck's research, we have our value goals, which is like study hard, and our snap energy. So our snap energy is like, okay, we're going to really sit down and like work. And it's like a snap, like, okay, sit down, work, go. Quick, easy, efficient, done. And they're clear and doable ones, right? So our snap energy is what we can do and what we can get done realistically. It's not like a heavy goal, it's a more materialized version of it. So study 2 sets of flashcards. Take 3 practice quizzes. Those are our snap goals that you create, and you do that to make sure that you accomplish your goals. So maybe, say you have a test coming up in 2 weeks, you set like snap goals for your snap energy for these goals, which are the doable ones. Having to like in your to-do list put, okay, I'm going to write my whole essay. Okay, I'm going to do my homework. Maybe write like start outline day 1, work on outline day 2, rough draft day 3. Like slowly break it up into parts, so it's not all at one time you're writing an essay or you're doing all your homework or creating a video. Because when you bulk it in the sense of, okay, I have to write a whole essay, we think that's a lot of work, we're going to procrastinate and put it off to the side. So instead, put those goals into obtainable ones and spread it out, right? You have every single day, you have a little bit of time to spread it out and make it doable for yourself. Completion of this task, when you are able to see your to-do list and you have so many heavy things on there that you're not able to accomplish in a day, it lowers your dopamine. But to react to that, you have to do the opposite and trigger the dopamine. So when you have your to-do list and you mark off a task, that dopamine trigger hits and you want to accomplish another thing and accomplish another thing. So you have 5 things to do, but they're all small, easy things, like write an outline, do your laundry, clean under your bed, for example. Things like that are easy and obtainable and you can see them clearly day to day, makes your dopamine levels just neurologically go up, because you're completing a task that you've set for yourself, which in turn boosts your confidence. But since you're doing it in such a small microdosing way and not all at one time, it makes it a lot more digestible for us, and not, oh my gosh, I have everything to do in 1 week and I'm like, I can't do it. Instead, branch it out and say, okay, today I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do that, and then at the end of the week you have your goal set. So small actions lead to the bigger goal, but you have to use that energy very quickly, because energy is gone by the end of the day, so use it wisely throughout. So, step 2 is make the progression visible. You can't really tell what you're doing if you're thinking to your day-to-day, oh, how do I know what I'm doing, when you can't see it? Our brains want us to see the progress we're making. Say we go to the gym, we want to see that dream body within the next day. You have to make your progression visible. So how do you do that? We stay engaged when we see that motivation being forward. So say you take a progress picture every day. If you're doing like 75 hard and you have that progression photo, you can see it every day. So how do you do it? One, for me, it's to-do list. I love to see like marking it off, that dopamine kicker. But then tracking it, tracking your work, tracking what you do. It's maybe a little extra time, but it helps you stay motivated. Like, yes, I am actually doing things, and it's not all pointless, and it is a progression. You're going up. if you've ever seen those little motion trackers where the bar is going up. So making the progression visible, tracking it, moving it day to day, and having that progress tracked, you can see it happening. So marking off your to-do list, setting up your planner where you can see it, and having it visibly marked off and you can see the progress grow, because maybe in 6 weeks you'll notice, okay, yeah, I noticed a difference, but you don't notice it until later on and you don't notice the day of. So definitely recommend marking things off, progression tracker, habit tracker, any of that. And then, so you can use like a habit tracker, or say if you have a bunch of assignments, line out your assignments out and like color coordinate. Like, okay, red means it hasn't done yet, yellow means it's been working on, green means it's done. And that dopamine kick that we talked about will then be brought forward into your brain and thinking, okay, I've completed a task that's manageable. Boom, dopamine. Yes, I want to keep going. Motivation continues to stay constant instead of having it all at one time. Pair your work with an immediate reward. And then we're kind of tricking the brain. Once again, this whole thing about motivation is just tricking your brain into thinking the dopamine reactors to keep going. We think our brain, especially now, and if you're younger and in college, your brain has such a instant reward. So social media, it's like our attention spans, all of it has brought our brain down that we want an immediate reward, an immediate reaction to anything we do. It's not going to be constant or slow. It's like 3 seconds, I need to have that reward. By doing that, you put a task with an immediate reward. So for instance, okay, I'm going to go study. So where am I going to go study? You're going to go to your favorite cafe, your restaurant, wherever, and that's your reward. You're studying and having this nice environment because you are studying in turn. While it is a short-term dopamine booster, and that's not great all the time, especially though in college it is, because when you're trying to complete so many tasks, do so many things, you have to have those short-term rewards. So maybe you work for 30 minutes, social media break for 5, or Pinterest break, or read, or whichever. You have to do a short-term reward. So studying at a cafe, intern working, or maybe doing all your homework on a certain day, and then you have the evening to go do whichever you'd like. Kind of break the difference with work, reward, and that will help kind of boost that motivation to stay forward and constant, because if you're doing the smaller tasks like we've talked about, you'll be able to consistently do it more with those rewards. Okay, now to step 4, we're talking all about using commitment, okay? What does commitment mean? And one of my favorite quotes, and I say it quite a bit on here, but is make your future self proud. And would your future self be doing the things that you're doing right now? Would your future self be sitting there not doing her work? Would she be moving forward and actually like getting it done or doing it? Or would she be procrastinating it the day before? And I am guilty of both. I have spent so much time scrolling. It is bad, but put the phone away, lock it, and then sit down. Or I'll just be wanting to do random things like work out and do all this and not lock in on my work or my schoolwork. And it's just like, no, you need to spend your time wisely. So commit. Make a commitment. Have a friend that you want to make sure like, hey, okay, I'm doing this work. I need you to make sure that I'm doing it properly, or like be, checking in, task, etc. Let that kind of pressure of, oh, I told these people I'm going to do this and it needs to get done within this time. So for me, what I like to do is I'll do like a study with me on my Instagram, and I'll put like, okay, here's my to-do list of all my work and I need to finish it. And it mentally, I don't know what sparks, but in my brain I think, okay, I have posted on a story, this is all the amount of work I have to do, and I have to do all of this so I can post so I don't look like I just failed it. Something like that, or like tell a friend, an accountability partner, or anything. But also in the back of my mind, think, okay, your future self, would they be accountable right now? Would they be looking at you right now and think, okay, yes, you're being accountable, yes, you're doing what you need to do? Or would they look at you like, what is she doing? Take a step back, let's rewind, let's work on this. So think about just making a commitment to yourself, or setting reminders, just something where you feel like you have to get it done. Set it up. Either it's a friend, it's an app, whichever. Set it up. And with that, kind of all that we've talked about, we've talked about why the motivation slumps, like why does it happen? Because our brain doesn't understand it. Then we've talked about setting a smaller concrete goal, making it more digestible for us, actually putting it where our progress is visible, how we can create the reward, how we can have people make sure that we're doing our right thing, and how we're committing to ourselves and our goals. Revisiting your purpose. Why are you doing this? Why are you at college, for example? Why are you in this job? Why are you doing this career path? Why are you being friends and doing this project, right? Think of your purpose, right? Reflect. Think, okay, why am I here? For instance, college. Why am I here? To get an education, to move forward, to have connections, to have all these things. That's your purpose. Think about it, reflect on it, and then that will kind of help you stay motivated if you're feeling unmotivated throughout the thing. So maybe rewatch Legally Blonde, maybe rewatch a study YouTuber, or for me, whenever I'm unmotivated, I love to just put on a YouTube video of a YouTuber that I find super motivating, watch their content, and think, okay, I can do this, we can do this. Just put that value up, make a vision board, make whichever. That's what you need to do to stay motivated. Do it, because it will help you in the future think, circle back around, do it. And like Notion, I put my Notion up, have that motivation on there. So with that, how are we going to combine all this? How are we going to take all this information and make it digestible into like 5 easy things, okay? So first one, start tiny, think small, work from the top up. Make it a digestible thing that you can do. Then you're going to track your progress. Make it trackable, make it understandable, digestible, everything, so that you can see that you actually are working towards what you are working towards. Add reward, small rewards to help boost your motivation and want to keep doing things. When you get a project done, give yourself a treat, etc. Then stay accountable. Think of what your future self wants and are you doing it? Think, okay, I told my friend this, will they be mad at me? Or like, not mad, but will they be checking in on me, and will I have let myself down, but not only let them down if I said, okay, this is what I have to do. Then think of why it matters. Always circle back to your why, because if you don't know your why, you're just going to get lost and you're going to be like, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. I feel unmotivated. I feel done. So just think that motivation isn't constant. It's a skill we have to keep working on and keep getting better and growing with. And it's something that you have to think of. How are you going to control your brain, your dopamine, your mind, by continuing to work on it? How are you going to make this skill set and practice it and work it out? And it's not like you need pressure to do better. You just need more strategies to do it. So that's the strategies we talked about today. And with that is like, keep the bar low and the purpose high. So the bar is here, and I have very high standards for myself, but I have to go, okay, keep the bar low for this week, set those goals, and then you're slowly going to build building blocks and get up there. So with that, hopefully this academic season, this year, all of it, you're going to stay motivated and get and avoid burnout and enjoy time for you as well. Thank you so much for having this lovely conversation. I hope that you're having a great day, evening, night, whenever you are watching or listening to this. I look forward to having you in the next episode. With that, thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!